That night, the sound of footsteps echoing under the city lights was the beginning of a game no one knew was about to unfold. While eyes chased after grand opportunities, those unaware of what lurked in the shadows had already become prey. There were those who played with people's dreams. What seemed legal at first glance hid a much darker reality underneath. Even the authorities missed the true scale of the scheme, and no one could have predicted how quickly it would all collapse. But one person had planned every move carefully, chasing millions without leaving a trace. Those who played by the rules thought they were winning, yet the real victor always remained behind the scenes. However, this story wasn't just about money, fraud, or fortunes lost. On one side were the investors, blinded by the hunger for wealth. On the other, a mastermind feeding on their hopes. As people got caught up in the thrill of being part of this system, they failed to realize how deep the trap went. The dazzling promises and the allure of high returns made the system seem unstoppable. But everything has a breaking point, and when that point came, watching the winners turn into losers became inevitable. Russ Medlin possessed a sharpness that allowed him to spot opportunities that most would miss. As Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies began to rise, Medlin saw the potential that this new technology offered. At the time, cryptocurrencies were an exciting new frontier for those hoping to make big gains. Yet the lack of knowledge in this field meant many investors didn't fully understand what they were buying into. Medlin took full advantage of this uncertainty, entering the cryptocurrency world with a well-crafted plan for fraud. His goal was to exploit people's curiosity and desire for wealth in this mysterious new market. Medlin knew that building trust in the world of cryptocurrency was key. His ability to captivate and lead investors made him a compelling figure. People began to believe in the opportunities he offered. By creating an investment platform based on Bitcoin mining, Medlin convinced individuals that they could earn significant profits. At that time, with the rapidly growing crypto market, investors saw it as a chance they couldn't miss. The smart foundation Medlin laid for his scheme would soon lead to the start of a highly successful career in fraud. BitClub Network was marketed as a platform that offered investors the chance to earn regular and high returns through Bitcoin mining. Medlin lured people into the project with enticing promises. Investors believed they would regularly receive the Bitcoin earnings generated by mining. Medlin cemented this trust with fake earnings reports and fabricated success stories. At first, people truly believed they were earning significant profits, leading them to invest even more. Medlin's cleverly constructed plan preyed on the dreams of those hoping to get rich quickly. BitClub Network's success was, in reality, completely dependent on new investors joining the system. In essence, the earnings of older investors were paid using the money of newcomers. Early investors, seeing initial returns, began inviting others to join the platform. As the system grew, Medlin accumulated even more money. However, this scheme thrived solely on the constant inflow of new funds, and such a structure could never last forever. Before investors realized the system was on the verge of collapse, Medlin had already pocketed huge sums. Medlin's fraud wasn't built on false promises alone. He also expertly exploited human psychology. He preyed on people's dreams of wealth and their desire for financial success. Winning over investors' trust was the first and most critical step in his fraud. By presenting a complex topic like cryptocurrency in a simple, straightforward manner, he shut down any doubts or questions they might have had. People believed that earning money through Bitcoin mining was easy, falling right into Medlin's trap. He turned that trust into more and more investments from his victims. As investors continued to profit, they became more deeply attached to the fake system Medlin had built. Each day brought in new investments, and people encouraged those around them to join. Medlin seduced them not just with the returns they were making, but with the future gains they believed they could achieve. His manipulative strategies deepened their loyalty to the system. However, this setup was entirely dependent on fresh investors joining. When that cycle eventually broke, investors began to realize they were part of a massive scam. BitClub Network didn't grow solely through Medlin's direct marketing strategies. It expanded thanks to word-of-mouth recommendations from investors. Early participants, thinking they were making impressive returns, shared their success with friends and family, causing the system to spread rapidly. As people saw their loved ones seemingly profiting, they were eager to join in and not miss out. This word-of-mouth growth made BitClub Network expand even further, helping Medlin sustain his fraud for longer. Medlin's manipulation skills and the social influence of his investors played a huge role in the system's expansion. This word-of-mouth marketing became perhaps the most powerful aspect of the fraud. People trusted the stories of those they knew and were eager to become part of the network. This social trust became one of the strongest pillars of Medlin's system. He encouraged investors to bring in even more people, further widening the fraud's reach. However, such growth couldn't last indefinitely. When new investors stopped joining, the entire structure began to fall apart. From that moment, the true nature of the system was exposed. The collapse of the system first revealed itself through small warning signs. Investors started noticing delays in receiving their earnings, which led to initial doubts. At first, Medlin brushed off these delays as temporary issues, buying himself time to keep people on board. But as time passed, the delays became more frequent, and investors began struggling to withdraw their funds. Medlin was relying on the money of new investors to pay off the older ones, but as the flow of new participants slowed, the system's sustainability was put at serious risk. When the system started to crumble, Medlin tried to pacify investors with new promises. However, even these assurances couldn't calm their growing concerns. People, unable to withdraw their money, began realizing they had fallen into a massive scam. By this point, Medlin had already amassed significant wealth, leaving the investors' financial losses far from his concern. The collapse of BitClub Network was a devastating blow for those involved. Still, Medlin managed to keep the system running just long enough to prolong the fraud and profit further. As BitClub Network began to collapse, Medlin's only focus became one thing: escaping. After the system crumbled, investors across the globe suffered heavy losses. But Medlin had carefully prepared for this moment, setting up his escape routes to avoid capture. Using fake identities and a hidden lifestyle, he managed to disappear. By the time investors realized they had been scammed, Medlin had already vanished. His online operations allowed him to evade authorities for an extended period, hiding out in various countries while covering his tracks. However, his escape finally came to an end in 2020, when he was caught in Indonesia. Authorities, having followed his digital trail, eventually arrested Medlin. His capture was widely publicized and brought a sense of relief to the thousands of investors who had been defrauded. Medlin's arrest marked a significant moment in the fight against large-scale cryptocurrency fraud. But even in capture, Medlin proved himself a professional scam artist. While his fraud career had come to an end, his escape strategy and operations still serve as a cautionary tale for many. Medlin's arrest was a turning point in the cryptocurrency world. While it brought relief to many investors, recovering their lost funds wasn't going to be easy. His arrest sparked a pursuit of justice for fraud victims, but the deeper issue was the trust that had been shattered within the crypto space. Investors became far more cautious following this scandal. The damage Medlin caused wasn't limited to financial loss. It also shook confidence in cryptocurrency projects as a whole, leaving lasting scars. This fraud led to global calls for stricter regulation of cryptocurrencies. Though Medlin's capture offered some closure, the recovery of the massive sums of money lost was much more challenging. The case highlighted just how prevalent such frauds had become in the cryptocurrency world. Medlin's arrest was seen as a major step in combating these crimes, but the deep wounds left behind remained. Investors now understood that they had to be far more vigilant against such schemes in the future. Although Russ Medlin's capture was celebrated as a victory, it didn't mark the end of cryptocurrency fraud. Even after his arrest, similar scams continued to emerge in the crypto space. Medlin's Ponzi scheme became a source of inspiration for other fraudsters. While investors tried to avoid falling for these promises again, new schemes quickly spread. The unregulated nature of the cryptocurrency world made it easy for scammers to exploit these gaps. Medlin's arrest signaled a need for tighter regulations, but these changes weren't enough. People became more cautious when investing in crypto projects, yet many continued to fall victim to fraud. In the post-Medlin era, cryptocurrency frauds kept rising. The discussions around the need for stronger regulation grew louder, but Medlin's legacy served as a reminder that investors must always be vigilant in this volatile world. The shadow of his schemes continued to haunt the cryptocurrency landscape.